Hey, good morning, everyone. It is Monday, April 3rd, 2017. It is officially the start of the 2017 baseball campaign for the Seattle Mariners and all the other teams other than Arizona and San Francisco, who opened up yesterday. And I'm actually extremely excited. This is one of my favorite days of the year because baseball it's a sign of the changing seasons. It's the beginning of spring. It's when the weather starts getting better. It also brings back a lot of nostalgia from when I was a kid. I was very huge baseball fan. I used to read statistics and collect baseball cards and watch baseball movies. I loved The Sandlot. I loved the movie Major League. I loved The Natural. I loved Bad News Bears. I loved anything to do with baseball. And baseball was always my passion. I was always better at football and basketball, but baseball was just, as you've seen over the years, it's America's pastime. It survived World War II. It survived, baseball players getting drafted by the military, going off and fighting like Ted Williams, and it's one of the things that people have been just in love with. And the thing is, if you go to basketball games or NFL football games, you don't really see as many families in the stands watching the games together. But with baseball, you see a lot of father-sons, father-daughters, mother-daughters, mother-sons, watching the game together and then explaining the game to them, the rules, like what's going on, who's this position, what is he responsible for, what do they do, what just happened, and explaining the game to them. And I see a lot of that when I go to games. And when I became a father, I saw this as an opportunity. Even though she's a girl, girls play softball, and the University of Washington softball team, the girls team, is a lot better than the males, but the male counterpart. So there is a great possibility that she could be playing softball too and earning a college scholarship for that. Save mom and dad a lot of money. But so I'm excited about that. I love baseball. So I'm excited about today, April 3rd, Monday, 2017. It is the opening day of Major League Baseball for the rest of the teams that didn't play yesterday. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about today wasn't baseball necessarily, but it was passion. And I talked to a lot of the employees that I train on a weekly, daily basis is passion. I asked them, what are you willing to do that stretches beyond money and status? If you could do something for the rest of your life that had nothing to do with the income, you wouldn't be known as the world famous artist or world famous this, world famous that. What would you do that was beyond that? If you didn't get that kind of recognition, the pay wasn't an issue, and you wouldn't get world exposure for a single or a music or a tour that you were doing or anything like that, because a lot of kids grow up, they want to be rich and famous. And passion and motivation is a sense of what would you do for the rest of your life if those two things weren't on the table, if they just they weren't part of the equation. And it's hard to do that where I work, because a lot of the guys have, they work for a Native American tribe where their moms and dads maybe just worked at the casino for their whole life. They don't know anything outside of the reservation because they've never been exposed to it, or they are untrustworthy dealing with those off of the reservation, which I understand. It's a thing. It's just a cultural thing that's taken place, and they have to deal with it. But passion. What is your passion? And for me, I didn't really know what my passion was until recently. And for those of you who know me, I love the outdoors. I love hiking. I love going out and seeing things on walks and hikes and climbing mountains and running and doing trail runs and things like that. I love the outdoors. I just do. I love camping and stuff. But when I blew my knee out in 2010, I spent 6 months where I couldn't really walk unassisted. And the thought of me becoming physically active again, because I wasn't at the time, but become physically active again and starting to do the things that I used to enjoy, like hiking and just walking and getting out into the wilderness, seeing national parks. I honestly didn't think it was possible. I was worried that this was going to be my lifestyle for the rest of my life. But the thing is, I put a lot of work into training and just getting my body back into shape, and I've done a really good job at it. But I have a lot of work to do. I'm just proud of the progress that I made, but I'm never quite happy with it. because that's what keeps pushing me forward. So I finally climbed. My first attempt at a hike was Mount Zion in Snoqualmie, North Bend, and around Seattle, Washington, 45 minutes from Seattle, Washington. And I remember doing that hike as a kid. I wanted to do it again, just to challenge myself. It was difficult, but I managed to make it all the way to the top. And when I got to the top, you get this feeling of accomplishment. You get this feeling of, man, it is beautiful up here. And you're only up there with maybe 1 or 2, 5 people, depending on the day. And the thing is, that kind of that shot, that vision, that what you see up there is not available to everybody. You earned that view. You earned that landscape that you're looking at right now, and it's beautiful. And there are a lot of different hikes where that's the end of it, that's the pinnacle, and you look around and there's nobody around you and you're just alone in nature, and there's opportunities for beautiful photography. And I started taking photos with my iPhone 4, and I started posting pictures on Facebook, and people are like, you take a lot of good shots. You get out and take a lot of good photos when you go on your hikes. And I started posting more and more of my hiking adventures, and people would comment and say that they were really good and they liked it. And then after a while, I started to I opened up my Instagram account, and I started posting photos on there using hashtags and everything, and really communicating with. If anyone commented on my photographs, I would really reach out and communicate with them and say thank you, and I would look at their stuff and I would like their gallery as well, and basically just really engage with them, because that's one of the things that's important for Instagram to get a start, is to engage with them, to like other people, to find other people's work that you enjoy, and to just create a line of dialogue between two artists. So what I did after that was I started working with editing and Photoshop, and the other one is Lightroom from Adobe. So I started using that a lot, and I started getting a lot more likes, a lot more follows, and I came to find out that the stuff that I do is really good. It's not the greatest photography because I don't have the greatest equipment, but what I do is I take these photographs and I do a little bit of editing on it, and I give it sort of a mood, a temperament, sort of a feeling, or an idea that I'm trying to portray with the photo, and I give it a quote. I do a lot of motivational quotes and just quotes about the scenery and landscape, and so I use a lot of outdoorsy quotes. And the photo could be a picture of a flower on a beach, or a blade of grass with a drop of dew at the top of the blade and catching the light reflecting off of it. And that was one of the coolest ones I ever took. And I did that last week by simply showing up to work early, noticing the position of the sun, and seeing that it was the grass had dew on it, and I was like, I can catch a shot from that angle. And so what photography did is become my passion, because after my daughter was born, I started seeing things in a different light. I started seeing things from a different angle. And normally people take photography standing upright, or getting down a little bit and taking a photo, taking a shot. But with me, I get down and dirty. I get on my sides, I get on my stomach, I get lay on my shoulder, on my side, and I catch things at an angle, because a lot of people aren't willing to do that, and I see things from that angle. You can see something up top from a drone's perspective, on top of a tree, that might look beautiful from that aspect, but if you have to get low enough to see what's under that tree, and then there might be something extremely beautiful under that tree that you can't see from the top. So it's all about perspective. And so I found that my passion in life is photography, and I'd be willing to monetize that. And I have people that tell me all the time that they love the work that I do. They'd be willing to to purchase my shots on canvas and put it on their wall. And I don't think there's anything more complimentary than that, than saying, I spent all this money on this biggest investment of my life, which is usually a house, and they say, I would love to decorate it with the work that you did. You created this picture, you took it, and you made it possible, and I think it's extremely beautiful, and I would love it to have it on my wall forever. And to have someone say that and say, I'd be willing to do that and pay you, you can monetize a passion, and it's something that I'm slowly getting into. but I'm extremely motivated and passionate about it, and that's what I found that's my passion. It came from me getting out there, being physically active, and putting myself into situations where I could capture something that other people were unable to get to or weren't aware of, and able to capture it on film, develop it, and give it to the world, and have someone really find a connection with it. They love the quotes. I get a lot of feedback on the quotes, on the photos themselves. And, they're not just photographs that you get from a camera. A camera can capture beautiful photographs, but what I do is I kind of work with it a little bit, work with the coloring, I work with the lighting, the contrast, some of the noise, I play with the saturation, some of the colors, I enhance a little bit, I set them a little bit lower, I work on the shading, I work on the lighting, the white, and the darkness, to kind of give it a feeling, a personality. That photo gets a personality for me, and then what I do with that personality is I develop it and kind of give it a quote that fits its personality. So the photo itself has many dimensions besides just capturing a beautiful landscape. I give it a little bit of color. I bring out some things. I dial down a little bit of a couple of things, and I give it a theme, a feeling, its own personality, and then I give it a quote that fits all of that. And I've been able to develop a pretty good following, people that follow like my stuff all the time, and it's been easy to do that. It takes a lot of time up. I find myself getting up at 3:30 in the morning often because I want to release it on Instagram when East Coast people get up and are riding the subway and going to work, and so I want them to see my work too, because when I have done that, I've gotten a lot more likes. On average, I get between 50 to 100 more just by doing that, and so that's what I do. And I also found that I get more likes by the more engagement I have. I go through and I click photos that have similar hashtags as mine, and I go through them and I find ones that I like, I comment on them, and I thank them by name and personalize it, and it really helps out with my exposure, and people like my stuff. So basically the theme of this whole video is finding out what you're passionate about. What are you passionate about? What really gets you going, and that you're willing to sacrifice sleep and pay and status on, that you're willing to do for the rest of your life. And if it came down, I lost my job and I was starting all over again, I would venture into photography, because that's what my passion is. And I would love to be able to pick up my camera, travel somewhere, take great photographs, and come home. And I have a lot of work that people would be willing to pay me for, and they could use those for whatever they want to do, for ads or for putting on canvases and putting it on their walls, or buying photographs and selling it, or buying it from me and giving it away to someone else as a gift. So there's a small group of people out there that kind of like what I do, which is the landscape photography. A lot of people in the Pacific Northwest particularly, and it's a strong community of support. A lot of people are into it. And the thing is, we don't really have sun like in Arizona. I was in Arizona about 2 weeks ago, and there's sun all the time. It's beautiful scenery all the time. You can catch, anything you want out there. Joshua trees, cactuses, mountains with sun setting on, and all that. It's easy to do that, but in Washington, it's a little more difficult because it's not always light out here. We don't really get clear skies often as other places, and so when you do get that, you take advantage of it. You make the most of it, and that's what I've been able to do. And I'm going to keep moving forward with it. I'm going to put my Instagram link at the bottom of this video. I would love for you to check it out, to like, follow, comment as much, and I post content there about 3 to 5 times a week, depending on how much content I have. I will be getting a lot more content now from this point on, because of the fact that it's spring and summer season, so I'll be getting out a lot more. Winter's a little more tough, but I will be doing that, and I would love to see what your passions are. What are your passions? What are you willing to do for the rest of your life if money and status would not affect you? So what would you do? What is your passion? What would you love to do? Please comment and send me your feedback. I would love to hear back from you guys. So have a great Monday. Go Mariners, and looking forward to another season of baseball.